Good morning, everybody. This is Craig Smith here
Mm-hmm.
with a new episode of Let's Draw on Something, episode 39 in the month of January 2020. Again, I am Craig Smith, and joining me is my co-host and also my boss on his podcast, Jimmy Jsmoove, who's born and raised in 901. He ready to pop and drop a lot of things and make things happen in 832. So y'all definitely gonna know how he do. Again, this is Craig Smith, aka the Sexy Beast, aka Mr. Smith, or as a certain young lady whose initials I will not say addresses me as Craig Leonard with certain authority. Yeah, this is Craig Leonard Smith II here, born and raised in 773, relocated to the 901, put up with a lot of hit and miss shit in the 256, and now I'm back in the 662, so y'all definitely gonna know how we do. Today, we got a nice little show for y'all. We're gonna be talking about the NFL playoffs, Mississippi State football's recent hire. Jimmy takes the wheel on Kendrick Perkins. We got fan questions. We also got, and even though it's not in the description, we also gonna give our thoughts about this Memphis mom of 11 who may be a scammer. And also, we're going to have state our 2020 rules and regulations in regards to our live streams. So, but before we get started, this live stream has been brought to you in part by Trey Styles, Custom and Designs, if you will. There's nothing he can't customize. Hit him up for your NBA, NHL, MLB, MLS, FCS soccer, special occasion needs such as graduations, baby showers, and memorials or whatever. Hit him up at 901-364-3698. That's 901-364-3698. Tell him Craig Smith sent you. And if you tell him that, he may cut you a nice little discount. But on to that, what's going on, Jimmy?
Man, chill mode. I'm loving every minute of that Tennessee Titan win over the Baltimore Ravens. I was thinking we were gonna get put out the playoffs because you know what I'm saying. Our passing offense didn't do too good, but we was able to enough to where they couldn't make a comeback. And like the team said, look, to whoop your ass like this, but it's the law.
Most deaf.
Yeah, yeah. We I didn't want to have to do Lamar like that, but it's the
No, the
law
way.
of the West.
I hate to have to whoop your ass, Lamar, but it's the law of the West.
Law of the West.
But since Jimmy talked about it, um, yeah, as you all know, Baltimore finished with the NFL's best record at 14-2, with possible which and also with the unanimous, well, almost unanimous runaway of the NFL MVP, Lamar Jackson. They got their ass embarrassed by the Tennessee Titans, 28-12.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy, let me ask you in one word. You already said about Tennessee's performance. Um, Baltimore's performance yesterday was what?
Baltimore's was pathetic on both sides. I can't blame 100% of Lamar Jackson. You have to put that on the defense because when you give up 200 yards rushing, which this is the first time that Tennessee has ran for over 200 yards against Baltimore out of 24 games. We've never ran for over 200 yards. The closest we got to 200 yards was the divisional playoff game that we played them in 2004.
Mm-hmm.
We ran for over 100 yards, but it's only he's like the second. This is only the third time a Tennessee's running back has run for 100 yards because Eddie George did it a couple of times in the 90s, and
Mm-hmm.
he never was able to do that again. He was never able to do that again. So in 24 games, there have only a handful of 100-yard rushers in the series. Priest Holmes ran for 100 yards in 1999 when Baltimore beat us 42-14, I think it was, in the 90s as well. So it was pathetic on both ends because Baltimore had no kind of run defense.
None.
I can't just put this on all Lamar. Lamar, yes, he committed 3 turnovers. Uh, but at the same time, as a defense, you have to go in there and you have to bring it. You have to give your offense opportunities. I don't give a damn how good Derrick Henry uh, is as a running back. He's quietly was the NFL's leading rusher, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people is comparing him to Earl Campbell because Earl Campbell was not only a big bulldoze and running back, he had speed. For 240 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Except Earl Campbell was a little bit shorter than Derrick Henry, but Derrick Henry is more like 6'3", 250 pounds. Um, and is a fucking a load to carry. And not only he's 250 pounds, he can finesse you. He can shimmy shake. He's not just a big back that punishes you. He's a guy that could take off on you. And you remember him very well at Alabama, because
Mm-hmm.
he was quiet. He was quietly the Heisman Trophy winner. That's the
Yep.
crazy thing about it. He was a quiet Heisman Trophy winner because I think he scored 24 touchdowns, and that was a Alabama record. A lot of people don't know he has the Alabama record in touchdowns, a single season touchdowns, I should say, as a running back, with all the running backs that came through there and stuff like that. But nevertheless, Tennessee made a good decision when they drafted him because he wasn't drafted very high because he was a very quiet Heisman Trophy winner. But nevertheless, Baltimore's performance was absolutely pathetic on their end because their job is to anytime you give up 200 yards rushing, that's the sign of a poor defense. Let's just keep this 1,010. That's a sign of a poor defense because the easiest thing to really stop, unless you just got matadors and bulldozers on the offensive line, is the run game. Because all you got to do is crowd the line of scrimmage and get people that ain't scared to hit a guy. But
Mm-hmm.
what happened was those guys got scared to hit Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry like ate them alive. And then he to top things off, he did a goddamn touchdown pass on them.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty as hell. Me being a Titan fan, I'm excited. You know what I'm saying? I like our chances against Kansas City and Houston, even though those are winnable games and those are losable games. So those are 50-50 games either way. Because Pat Mahomes, not only a great passer, he's an underrated runner. You know what I'm saying? I mean, people pay so much attention to his ability to throw the ball that he's a sneaky runner. He's not slow at all. And then you got Deshaun Watson, who could do it either way, run and pass. So we
Yep.
got our work cut out for us, regardless of who wins regardless who wins between Houston and Kansas City. We got our work cut out for us. And like I said, if we lose next week, dude, we exceeded expectation. We wasn't even supposed to get
Y'all was
past.
supposed to be finishing at the bottom
We wasn't even supposed to get
because
past
of Marcus Mariota.
Marcus Mariota. You know what I'm saying? So we wasn't even supposed to beat New England, but we beat New England for the first time since 1993, and previously before that, 1978, when we won 3 straight games in New England, 3 years in a row. So we that's another place that we don't win too often. We don't win in New England like that. We won the first 2 games historically in New England, and then after that we started slowing down against New England. So that's not a place that we typically win. So we wasn't even supposed to beat New England, much less the Baltimore Ravens, and we blew them out. But I attribute to that more to a rivalry game than anything, because Baltimore Ravens is a rivalry game. Tennessee versus Baltimore have been a rivalry since the old AFC Central, where we had 6 goddamn teams trying to, and that's one of the reasons why the NFL came in with the realignment, because we had five division opponents, so they wanted to even the divisions out, because our division was fucking odd compared to everybody else. And had the Houston Texans came in, we would have had 7 teams in a division playing each other.
Right.
So what ended up happening was the NFL, decided, okay, we're gonna have to cut it down to 4 divisions, and we're gonna have to create a new division, which is the NFC North and the AFC North, and we're gonna create an AFC South and an NFC South. So that's our division is the reason why we did that. So Baltimore has always been a rival of us. And then Baltimore, to top things off, I think they beat us 23-0. And we've only been shut out once we've never been shut out at home since the 1980s.
And matter of fact,
Because
here's a nice little Easter egg plug on there. That was the game in which Marcus Mariota got sacked. Baltimore set a sack record in one half on Marcus Mariota by sacking him 11 times.
that motherfucker got sacked more times than Kroger, nigga, up in the motherfucker, and that was crazy on their end. And looking like us benching Mariota was the best thing that happened to Tennessee, because Mariota had played below expectations. He played way below expectations. And Ryan Tannehill just took the ball and he ran with it, and surprisingly, because this is supposed to be Marcus Mariota's accomplishments, not Ryan Tannehill. But I don't know what's up with Mariota, but he gonna have to find his way somewhere else, and hopefully, he can last in the NFL. If not, we'll be looking at him as a has been. You know what I'm saying, as opposed to
not a has been, a has not.
Has not. So he should be doing way better than what he's done. You know what I'm saying? So and the crazy thing about Marcus Mariota has had more shutouts than Warren Moon and Steve McNair combined.
Wow, that's sad.
And with the Titans organization, because Warren Moon got shut out in the 80s, and Steve McNair got shut out versus the Dolphins 17-0 in the season we went to the Super Bowl. So he's been shut out more fucking times than Warren Moon and Steve McNair combined. So I think it's time for us to pull the plug on Marcus Mariota. If we gonna keep him, that's on the general management, but I don't see us keeping him. And what the Titans need to do with Mike Vrabel, with how he exceeded expectations, give him a big contract.
Yeah, not too big, but because
pay him enough to where he won't. Pay him enough to where he won't leave.
Yeah, because if you get that man a big ass contract, then he'll fuck up next year. Baltimore, in my opinion, Baltimore's performance you said it was pathetic. Baltimore's performance last night was very utterly. I was disgusted. The granted, Tennessee's defense did a good job shutting the tight ends down. Okay. I was discussing the fact that the wide receivers, as open as most of them were, couldn't catch some of the easy passes that Lamar threw. Okay, that's on them. Also, let's fault the coaching part, the coaching aspect on both levels. Start with the number one stunner, John Harbaugh, along with Marty Morningway, the offensive coordinator, and what's his name, Dean Pease, the defensive coordinator for Baltimore. You got to fault them, especially the latter, which is Pease, because I've never heard of a fucking Baltimore defense giving up that many run yards. Baltimore can have a suck season and they still can manage. They still can be in the top 5, in the top 3 to top 10 in NFL in defense.
Especially
ain't no
rushing.
way, and especially in rushing, it's no fucking way. It was no damn excuse. What did they do? Did they get like them boys off of Friday Night Lights and happy went to a strip club and just fucking forgot something? No, man. I was just thoroughly just disgusted with the whole thing. And then when I was on the phone with shout out to the lovely J Will, with them, I looked at the score and then just looking at how they was playing defense, I turned it off. I'm like, this ain't no fucking Baltimore defense. This all Harbaugh right here. So, like you said, Lamar Jackson, not his fault. The coaching, the defense, and mainly his main weapons, their fault. Point blank. I was disgusted, man, because Baltimore had their best season and they effed it up.
Yeah,
but you gotta get Tennessee. You gotta get Tennessee what props do, man. They came in with a good game plan, and I felt Harbaugh should have prepared a little bit more. Now I ain't saying John is like his brother Jim. James, that's his name, James. They call him Jim, but his name is James.
James Harbaugh. Yep.
He's not like his big brother James. He ain't conservative. He gonna change with the times, you know. But that fall, this a third of this falls on him, but the rest of the 70% falls on on both of the coordinators. And Greg, I say Marty Morningway, Greg Roman, offensive coordinator. My fault. Um, I apologize. That it falls on Greg Roman because now, granted, he did call some good play calls, okay, but he called some of the same, and he called himself trying to slick the sky some shit. Come on now, I mean, and that's what got his ass out of San Fran. And the defense, like I said, the defense should fucking know better. I ain't never heard no Baltimore defense giving up over 200 yards rushing. I can understand they gave up over 200-yard rushing in the past 5 seasons or something like that, or 10 seasons, but no, that wasn't Baltimore. That wasn't Baltimore defense. That wasn't Baltimore ball there, man. So I was just disgusted, just thoroughly disgusted with how they performed yesterday.
Because yeah, because with Ray Lewis prior to him retiring, they were known for having the best rushing defense, especially during that 6 year period when Marvin Lewis was the defensive coordinator. They were tops in the NFL in rushing defense. They used to give up less. They used to give up less than 70 yards rushing, and only a handful of guys actually during that timeline that that Marvin Lewis was a defensive coordinator. Uh, Only a handful of running backs gave up. They gave up 100 yards rushing because they had a real
Right.
solid solid run defense. And even when Rex Ryan took over as the defensive coordinator prior to him going to the New York Jets as the head coach,
That was their best
they
defense.
kept that same intent. Yeah, that kept that same intensity because they went from a 4-3, a base 4-3 defense to a 3-4 defense. So they're not used to giving up this. I've never seen a Baltimore team give up this many rushing yards. But again, to toot my horn. Hey, congratulations to the Titans and to the Baltimore fans. Hey, better luck next.
Man. Yep. But I mean that was the only game I wanted to comment on. But San Fran, they did their thing against the Vikings. Yay. Um, who you got today between Seattle and the Packers, man?
Mm, I'm actually going for Seattle. But I
What?
say the winner of this, I'm going for Seattle. I'm going for Seattle.
They,
Yeah. I'm
this
going
is
for
Craig. This is Craig Smith. This is Craig Smith. We signing off.
I'm
How
going
dare you?
I'm going for Seattle. I'm going for
What?
Seattle. I'm going for Seattle. Period.
What?
I'm going for Seattle. Cause you got your hands full with Russell Wilson. That's the thing. You got your hands full. I mean, this is not going to be a ugly game. I'll say that. I mean, if Green Bay uh, beats them ferociously, that'll come as a surprise. Because believe it or not, before those running backs got injured, they were in the driver's seat of being the number one seed in the NFC, and they messed up the
True.
last two games of the season. So they could have easily. Their record is better than what people realize it is. But I say it's probably going to be like a 28-24 game in
Yeah.
favor of Seattle. I don't see it no real big significant. It'll shock me if either team comes out and and blows somebody out. But I think the winner of this game could give San Francisco problems
Yeah.
because both quarterbacks are elusive, and that's have been that have been one of San Francisco's weakness the whole season. They have not done well, even in winning those games where they play mobile quarterbacks. That have been their one of their they have a good defense, but for some reason when they play mobile quarterbacks, they just piss on themselves. I mean, Arizona damn near beat them a couple of times this year. Uh, Russell Wilson had a comeback win against them in the regular season. The second game, not so much, but still, they have not done well. I mean, Lamar Jackson beat them, you know,
Been bad.
beat them pretty easily. So I mean, they, I don't see that they're gonna have to. if they, in order to beat Green Bay or Seattle, I think Seattle has a better chance because they're a division opponent and they see them twice a year. They've seen Green Bay. They beat Green Bay early in the regular season, but it's a whole nother ball game because one, I feel like Rodgers got something to prove. So, with him just having that one Super Bowl win, I guess he want to prove that he can win it without McCarty. And for Russell Wilson, if the Seattle Seahawks win, I think Russell Wilson want to prove that he can do it without the Legion of Boom, even though their defense
Yeah.
is pretty underrated in his own right. With Ken Norton being the defensive coordinator, they have a pretty decent defense. They have good enough defense to give you problems. They don't have the personnel that they once had, but they can still give either team problems. So it'll be pretty interesting what happens between Green Bay and Seattle. But it wouldn't shock me either team wins, but I don't see it being too big of a difference. Because I just believe Seattle is better than what their 11-5 record going into the playoffs is.
True.
So it is what it is.
All right, and I do agree. And one thing I can say, you may have a point. Um, I'm pulling for Green Bay to win. Then again, I'm skeptical because I don't know which defense is gonna show up. You all right, man?
I'm good, man. I'm just breathing heavy. That's all. Do your thing, bro. Do your thing.
Yeah. I'm just I'm trying to figure out what defense gonna show up. The one that been kicking ass or the one that showed up that shit the bed against San Fran on Sunday night. That Sunday night. And if we do play San Fran, let me tell you Frisco Fruitbird fans one thing. We owe you one. We owe y'all ass one. And if the first Super Bowl ever, and I'm going to make a prediction because I'm gonna tell you this. My mom's is gonna do a one-night heel turn. Yes, she's a Raiders fan, but she's gonna do a one-night heel turn because she's gonna be rooting for Kansas City to go to the Super Bowl. And why? That's my late pops team. I predict the Super Bowl will be either Kansas City versus either Green Bay or San Francisco. And if it be either one, let the scoreboard light up. Let the scoreboard light up and talks all kinds of shit because I think Kansas City, either way, whoever Kansas City play, I think Kansas City will win. Straight up.
Yeah, because with Kansas City, and this will be a rematch of Super Bowl one.
One.
Yeah, if Kansas City and Green Bay happen to get there, which is highly likely, that'll be a rematch of Super Bowl one.
Yep.
So that'll be very interesting in its own self. Because like I say, Kansas City has only won one Super Bowl, and that's Super Bowl 5 back in 1970. So that's gonna be an interesting. That's a hell of a game to. That's gonna be a hell of an interesting game right there. As we see, so we gonna see what's gonna happen. But like I say, I'm gonna be very proud of my Titans if we can, regardless of what happens. If we get to the Super Bowl, that's some extra for us. That's gonna be very interesting in its own right. But we're gonna have to get better at passing the ball as well, and not
really,
be conservative.
it's really not not better at passing the ball. It's better at calling passing plays.
Yeah, because we're gonna have to step it up, especially we playing a team like Green Bay, who I expect to put points on the board. We're gonna have to bring it against any of those NFC teams. It's gonna be expected that we put up points on the board. If we want to win against any of those NFC teams, unless our defense play lights out like we did yesterday, we're gonna have to put points up on the board in order to beat any of those teams. It ain't no ifs, ands, and buts about that. So we're gonna have to bring it. But we're gonna see what comes up. But that's gonna be very interesting though. But like I say, the Green Bay versus Seattle game, that's gonna be a very interesting game uh between the two teams. So it wouldn't shock me whoever wins because Green Bay is strong at home historically in the playoffs. Uh, Seattle has never been a real big road team in the playoffs. Even when they were playing in the AFC, they never was a road team.
No, they were more of a home.
more of a home team when they happen to get the few dominant years in the AFC West. So it's gonna be interesting though.
No doubt. All right, peoples. It's that time again. Everybody's favorite segment of Jimmy takes the wheel. And he's going to take the wheel on one Kendrick Perkins. And Jimmy, and we all know what this is about because lately Kendrick Perkins had made some comments about Kevin Durant, and let alone he made some more backhand comments. But I did pull up the Twitter war. And before you take the wheel, I gotta, I'm gonna have to say who I'm gonna side on with this in a minute. I have to say it's pretty even with it, but Kevin Durant had a fucking point. And like myself, Kevin Durant is a true leader because if you come in here with that damn smoke, he gonna fuck you up. So the Twitter war change went like this: said Kendrick Perkins, KD lost in the second round without Russ when I was there. So what that mean? And KD said, yeah, and that starting center Kendrick Perkins averaged a whopping 2 and 3 during that series. You played hard though, champ. LOL. Kendrick said, boy, stop. You did the weakest move in NBA history. Up on the team 3-1 in the Western Conference Finals and then go join them the following season. Heart of a champion right there. And Kevin Durant said, weak is starting at center, playing real minutes with no production. Should have worked on your skills as much as I did. And Kendrick Perkins ended off by saying, that's fine. You worked that hard and still had to go join the 73-9 team. Truth be told, you don't even feel like a real champ. You have a hard time sleeping tonight, huh? Knowing that you took the coward way out.
He a bitch for that. First of
Well,
all,
yeah.
Kendrick Perkins is a hoe. I'm taking the wheel. Goddamn it,
So
Perkins.
hold up. So, with that being said, Jimmy, please hit the keys, get in the driver's seat, take the wheel.
Kendrick Perkins have no obligation to call anybody weak when you've averaged 3 points a fucking game. You didn't really do shit in Boston because really the Big Four was the team that won that championship. All you did was get in foul trouble throughout the course of your whole career, from Boston to fucking
Cleveland.
To Cleveland, wherever the fuck you went to. I mean, at least with Boston, he played somewhat effective in terms of rebounding, but even then you didn't do shit. So when you came to OKC, all you did was get in fucking foul trouble because the Memphis Grizzlies, all we had to do was get the ball in Zebo's hand, and if Kendrick Perkins defended him, he's gonna automatically commit a foul. If he defended Marc Gasol, it's gonna be a foul. Did you know if you the Memphis Grizzly game versus the OKC, even though OKC ended up victorious and they went to the Western Conference Finals, losing to Dallas, which Dallas went on to win the NBA championship.
Mm.
Did you know Kendrick Perkins fouled out of 5 of the 7 games in that series?
Yes, I did. I looked
You
that
did
up.
not.
Yes, I did.
You did not help the team whatsoever. So don't ever come to a motherfucking future Hall of Famer, first ballot, stamped, signed, sealed, and delivered, first ballot Hall of Famer, talking that shit, talking about you made the weakest move in NBA player, NBA history. First of all, your team, when you got your one little championship, which should have been 2 or 3, you could argue that, you had the Danny Ainge had to bring talent over to help give you a championship. To help give you a championship, which the Boston Celtics people was not going to the fucking games no more because of how slow the fucking Boston Celtics were.
Man,
It wasn't
what?
until Danny Ainge brought Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett. And when they brought Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett, goddamn it, that's when the Boston fans started coming back because they were getting tired of fucking losing. They were getting tired, and Doc Rivers was one step from quitting, was one step from resigning as the head coach.
Yep.
And Danny Ainge had to convince him and tell him, look, You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get you the players you need. Just stick with me. And when he got him the players he need, Doc Rivers ended up bringing the championship home. You know what I'm saying? So you basically got a Christmas gift of an NBA championship. So pause on that. First of all, Kevin Durant is not obligated to stay with a fucking team that is fucking almost getting there, but is not gonna win. He was never gonna win a championship as long as Russell Westhaven. Westbrook is playing good this year, so I'm gonna call him Westbrook this year. But back then, he was Russell Westhaven. He was not gonna win a championship as long as Russell Westhaven was a shoot first point guard and pass second. He was never gonna win a championship like that,
Nope.
which is why he ended up going to the Golden State Warriors and winning a championship. And like I say, it could be argued. I'm not gonna say he was better than Stephen Curry at the Golden State Warriors, but it could be argued he was the best player on that team. He was the best player at OKC. He wanted to make his comments talking about, well, he gave Russell Westbrook the keys to being the best player in OKC history. Okay, we can make that argument, but nevertheless, what did Russell Westbrook do with that keys? He got put out the first round every fucking year. Every fucking year. He had spats with Paul George. He had spots with Carmelo Anthony. He had spats with other teammates. He has a history of having spats with other teammates. The only person he can get
Mm-hmm.
along with is James Harden, and I hope him and James Harden get along because they're basically from the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
So I hope they can make that happen. Fertitta is invested. He got rid of Chris Paul, who is still playing good at OKC right now.
Yeah, and
He's
shit,
still playing
OKC
good.
winning. At first they
And
start off slow and they winning.
and Fertitta got rid of Chris Paul because he did not show up for the Golden State series. He's felt Tillman Fertitta, who's the owner of the Houston Rockets, he said that he felt that Chris Paul was slowing down, which there's signs that he was slowing down in that series. But he could have let Chris Paul stay for one more year. And I think, in my personal opinion, I think the Houston Rockets would probably be number 2 in the West right now.
Yeah.
If it was maybe number 1, you could argue number 1. But Chris Paul, they talked about the difference in pace because they said the pace was number 27th in the NBA, which I really did not see because Chris Paul is a fast-paced player. I don't see that, but that could be argued. But they said the pace is different with Russell Westbrook and all that other good shit. But Chris Paul was a more of effective point guard because first of all, Chris Paul plays defense.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Paul plays defense. Russell Westbrook don't play defense at all. So
And
you're
Chris Paul got a
losing.
damn good jumper, and he's not
Exactly.
shot happy as Russell is.
Ex- exactly. And the thing about Chris Paul will get his ankles broke by Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving before he gives up an easy shot. Yeah, he gonna take a few ankle breakers, but that's what great defensive players do. Hell, people score 40 points on Michael Jordan. That don't make him any less of a great player. Shit. So, Chris Paul plays better defense and he's a better team player. Yes, you could talk about he had an argument with James Harden, which was the camel that broke his back, but Fertitta debunked that. Fertitta came in and debunked it. He said it had nothing to do with that. He said he felt Chris Paul
Mm-hmm.
was slowing down, and he felt that we should have got Chris Paul 5 years ahead. That's the reason why Chris Paul is at OKC, and OKC is playing better than what OKC is playing better than what Chris Paul would have led them to. Because if Chris Paul wasn't a point guard, they would probably be the bottom feeders of the NBA. But back to Kendrick Perkins, bitch ass. Kendrick Perkins, nobody's obligated to stay on a team that was finna be in a burning fire. Because first of all, the first move they made before Kevin Durant even left was they got rid of Serge Ibaka. I think
Man,
they sent him to Toronto, Orlando, whatever. But he ended
Toronto.
up in Toronto somehow. So first of all, you got rid of your best defensive player, your best interior defensive player. So what Kevin Durant was going to come back to? That's first and foremost. Second,
And hold that thought. Don't Kevin Durant and doesn't Serge Ibaka have a ring?
mm-hmm.
Okay, go ahead.
And second, nobody's obligated to stay on the team because this is the the era of free agency. We got bitch ass sports fans these days that talk about, well, it was weak for LeBron James to go to Miami. It was weak for this player to do this player to do that. Pump your brakes, goddammit. When your team is winning championships, you have no problem with guys exercising their free agent rights. You have no problem with teams making big trades to help your team win championships. Case in point, Adrian Dantley, which a lot of people, a lot of NBA fans probably not going to remember who Adrian Dantley is. But the trade for Adrian Dantley was a key trade to lead the Detroit. Well, I think Detroit was going to win a championship anyway,
Yep.
whether they had Dantley or Mark Aguirre. Because I felt like Mark Aguirre would have been a first ballot Hall of Famer had he not went to Detroit, because he gave up he gave up his prime at Dallas to win a
Man,
championship.
what?
But because he was a beast, because he damn near beat the Lakers the year before that the LA Lakers won their last championship with Magic Johnson in 1988.
Mm-hmm.
But to nevertheless, people don't give a fuck about the players. They just want to see their team win a championship. But when the players make this best decision for them to lead themselves to glory, now the players is weak for going on. Dude, you sound like a fucking slave, Kendrick Perkins. You sound like a goddamn tap dance and shoe shine. It's free agency for a fucking reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's
And
free
see, he has
agency.
to look what he did too. He wanted to win a ring with LeBron. It didn't happen. And
Exactly.
and you notice now when he was on Fox Sports, when he was on Undisputed, he wasn't talking that coon doc shit on there like he is now. That's what
Exactly.
disappointed me. That's what disappointed me the most. You on fucking ESPN. Now you want to pull your coon card out your ass. Come on,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, you a bitch for that. You a bitch for that. You got rewarded a ring at Boston. You wasn't a major factor at Boston because Kevin Garnett, Allen, Paul Pierce were the major in Rondo were the major factors in that championship. You was never a major factor. The only factor you was helping the OKC Thunder average 28 fouls a fucking game versus the Memphis Grizzlies. You hear it? 28 fucking fouls. They were in the penalty in every single fucking game of that 7-game series. If Memphis had took advantage of those opportunities, the series would have ended in 5 games. But since the fact that we went into triple overtime and didn't beat them folks because we didn't have a good 3-point shooting team, we just did enough to send it into extra innings, or extra quarter or something like that. Had we had a good
Mhm.
3-point shooting team, we would have got them up out of there. But the fact that this motherfucker want to talk about you did the weakest move in NBA history, but you won't say the same shit to LeBrick James when he playing bad. You won't say the same thing about these owners who go into business for themselves. Nigga,
Mhm.
fuck you. I wish motherfuckers would shut the fuck up about this player doing this and this player. It's free agency. There's a reason why David Stern / Oscar Robinson instituted the Oscar Robinson rule, which allowed free agency, which allowed free agency because at the beginning of free agency, it was restricted free agency, and then they created unrestricted free agency in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? So there's a reason why the Oscar Robinson rule is instituted, because it was more of when players first got to the NBA, it was more of a slave contract versus a player that had legitimate rights. You know what I'm saying? So for you to say that bitch ass shit was not only a diss to Kevin Durant, because I could take him dissing Kevin Durant a little bit, but you also dissed Oscar Robinson, who fought for fucking free agency. You talking about he made the weakest move? Tell that to fucking Oscar Robinson.
Mhm.
Tell that shit to Oscar Robinson. Tell that to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You sound like a little box head, Beaumont, Texas body ass hoe. That's what you sound like, hoe.
It's
You a
Delroy
fucking
Lindo looking ass.
exactly. You know what
And
I'm saying? And then you want to try to nigga splain on fucking on ESPN, bitch. I don't want to hear the shit you got to say, because it was a bitch move that you did, Kevin Durant, which you will never look at the Hall of Fame, dude. The only thing you're gonna be doing is popping your gums on NBA on ESPN. And
hey,
like
and you know,
Charles
and
Oakley said,
you
mhm. Go
you
ahead, go ahead, go
notice
ahead.
Charles Barkley, Kenny Smith. and Shaq ain't working for ESPN because see they can say what the fuck they want to say. And if Kendrick had said that shit around them, I'm gonna tell you who really would have G checked his ass. Kenny Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Because you notice the
Exactly.
last Kenny Smith would have G checked the shit out of his ass. You're like, well, whoa, wait a minute. Didn't you go play with LeBron? You know,
Exactly.
you know, and
Exactly.
and what you saying about what Charles Oakley said?
Charles Oakley said it best. Don't end up becoming the next Charles Barkley. You know what I'm
Damn.
saying? Because he got roasted by not only Charles Oakley, he got roasted by several former players, Gilbert Arenas, quite a few
Talking
former
about
players.
Kendrick Perkins.
Kendrick, they got on his ass, and I like how Charles Oakley said, "Don't end up like Charles Barkley up in this motherfucker." But
Man, what?
Charles Barkley with Charles Barkley, when he ain't in his Pisces extra emotional feelings,
hmm
he will tell the truth. So I
Yeah, like
will
he
give
told
him
like 3 years ago, he told that truth about LeBron, talking about that man don't want to
LeBron.
fucking
Yeah.
compete.
So when he ain't in his feelings, and I'm saying when he ain't in his feelings, because sometimes he get on that haterade. He drink that haterade sometimes. He is accurate. So to a certain degree, he has a right to his opinion to a certain degree.
hmm
Not all the way, but to a certain degree. You know what I'm saying? But Kendrick Perkins, who virtually did nothing, who should have went to college to the University of Memphis. Yes, Kendrick Perkins signed the letter of intent to the University of Memphis before he
mm
jumped to the NBA. He was one of those guys that could have used a year, 2 years in college, 3 years possibly. He was supposed to go to the University of Memphis. He could have used that because Calipari signed him,
Right.
and he was playing for Beaumont Ozell, which
hmm
is like an hour and a half away from Houston. So, nevertheless, sit your Beaumont Buck dancing ass down, motherfucker. That's all I gotta say about goddamn Kendrick Perkins.
Yep. I really do agree, man, because that really was scenario. I'm gonna tell you what really was a weak move on his part too. You're gonna go from fucking Fox Sports One. You can talk all this shit about LeBron and shit. Then you take your ass over to ESPN and you wanna sing his praises. Hallelujah, mercy. Mercy me, amen. And man wanna say some bad shit about Kevin Durant. Man, take your ass on.
Exactly. At least he got two championships. You only got one. And he would have had a
Mhm.
third one had his teammates had been healthy. So man, go on somewhere, man.
Man,
So
what? All right, Jimmy. Mississippi State football. Now the SEC is the arms race division. SEC West is the arms race division. You have Nick Saban, your buddy, Coach O, Lane Kiffin, and now we got Mike Leach. So, Jimmy, in one word, Mike Leach's Mississippi hire to Mississippi State was what?
interesting.
Mm,
Is interesting more than anything because Mike Leach is going to have to make a whole lot of adjustments before
mm,
they, aka Mississippi State, becomes competitive in the SEC West. If he's going to use that same old air raid system, he's going to have to modify it, especially
mm-hmm.
with the running game. You can't sit up there and use strictly air raid, throw the ball 100 times like it's a PlayStation game and expect to win football games because your defense is not going to get a chance to rest. So he's going to have to modify his version of the air raid, possibly make an RPO slash air raid like Kevin Sumlin did in his first year with Johnny
Yep,
Manziel.
yep.
Because he modified the SEC started figure after Johnny Manziel left, the SEC figured it out that okay, all they're gonna do is
Mm-hmm.
just pass 100 times a game, and we gonna shut that shit down. So
Mm-hmm.
he's gonna have to make adjustments in the SEC if he wants to compete. The only way Mississippi State competes remotely with Go Coach O, as the people from Louisiana saying about Coach O right now, pending what championship game, and uh, if he even want to compete with Lane Kiffin, because I think Lane Kiffin going to Florida, is it Florida International? I get those two goddamn schools
Atlantic,
mixed up.
Atlantic.
Florida Atlantic, Florida Atlantic. Him going to Florida Atlantic was a great thing for him because now he gets to become a better coach than what he was. Because I think had he stayed at Tennessee, he would probably
Hmm.
still be at Tennessee. I feel like, but he
Yeah,
went back to USC, tried to get the big job, and USC expectation is just too ridiculous over there.
ridiculous.
So
Hmm.
it's ridiculous expectation. Whereas in Tennessee, we was ready to keep him for a while. You know, he hyped up the Florida game. Oh, we're going to come to beat the Florida Gators, and you end up losing to Tim Tebow and the Florida Gators. You know, which was
Hmm.
a disappointment on their end, but was bygones is bygones. But he has an
Yep.
opportunity to make Ole Miss a contender, and I think Ole Miss is in the top 20 in recruiting. So he needs to get to where Coach Freeze was. You know, when they were in the very top 10. That right now they're like in the top 20 in the recruiting. But he needs to get them in the top 10, like Hugh Freeze in, and not just that recruit, but coach very well against Ole Miss. And Ole Miss has their expectations too now, so
Oh yeah.
don't get too comfortable over the Ole Miss because Ole Miss will put their old piss with a pink slip. So you're gonna have to
Hmm.
produce over there as well, just like Mike Leach needs to produce. So with these two guys coming to Mississippi, they're going to have to recruit. Now, Mike Leach's job is easier because I think Mississippi is sitting right at 17, 19 on Rivals or 24 Sports. One of those sites got him pretty high. So, and that's because
Hmm.
of the old coach ahead of him recruited that class. So he's
Right.
got a head start. So that's a good start for Mike Leach. But nevertheless, Leach need to modify that offense. If he can't modify that offense,
Then that's his ass.
that's his ass. Alabama's gonna continue to dominate LSU LSU for a few years and uh possibly Auburn on a good year. I can see Ole Miss doing something before Mike Leach if he does not modify.
Right.
If he doesn't modify, I see Lane Kiffin doing more than Mike Leach will.
Right.
So for one word, interesting.
Yeah. Um. Wow. That's all I gotta say. That's it. Wow. It's it's gonna be something. Now, man, tell Mississippi State fans something. Don't be expecting a winning record in year one and shit like that. And and also plus Mike Leach does. Here's what y'all didn't know: Mike Leach does have some experience in the SEC because he was Hal Mum's offensive coordinator at Kentucky. So Mississippi State fans, don't be expecting a winning record right off the bat. Mike Leach gonna have time to put his system in place. I feel he has the right players, but the question is, do they have the I'm pointing in my head to focus and process that shit. It's really a run first, and I'm not a run. It's a pass
No.
heavy, pass first, run later scheme. What? Because in Washington State, he did have a running game. He used a lot of plays, and he had a couple 1,000-yard running backs up there at Washington State when he was there. You know, he did have a quarterback by the name of Gordon, whatever his name is, Minshew or something like that, and from under that system. So I said wow because didn't nobody see that hire coming. Um, and he may put some wow factor in the Mississippi State offense because they went from the Sylvester Croon, whatever the fuck he was running, which was god awful. Then
West
they got
Coast.
that, yeah. I think well, I'll put it like this: they run a pure West Coast, but he tried. Uh, then they had Dan Mullen, because Dan Mullen ran that Florida offense, which worked to a good degree. Um, and then they had who they got there. Excuse me. And then Joe Moorhead tried to run what he was running with James Franklin. it worked, but then again, it didn't work. So it's going to be a wild factor for Mississippi State in that regard. There, in regards to that hire, and we're gonna have to see what we're gonna see what he's gonna have to do, what he's gonna come up with.
Yeah, and with 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 Mike Leach, that's where he learned that air raid system from was Hal Mummy.
Mm-hmm.
Because Hal Mummy created that in the late '80s, early '90s over at Valdosta State
Mm-hmm.
when they were making a few runs at the Division II championship. So um, nevertheless, with Mike Leach, he's going to have to modify that offense, and he's going to have a damn good defensive coordinator in the process as well. Because like I say, you can't come on there with that bullshit like you did at Texas Tech. Texas Tech, when you're in the Big 12, you don't necessarily defense to be in the Big. You know what I'm saying? But because
Mm-hmm.
Nebraska, they're in the Big Ten right now. So nevertheless, uh, our boy got to bring it. That's all I got to say to that.
Most
He got to
definitely.
bring.
Okay. Here's kind of let me put a disclaimer on it. This is kind of like a little touchy subject with us. We always, Jimmy and I, we always go in here and say that we're times we can be the champions. We can be the unsung champions for the single moms and the single moms who get fucked over, and we're also a champion of the single dads who get fucked over by the single moms and vice versa. Put a long story short, we defending it. We defend these type of people from fuck boys and fuck girls to make a long story short. But this story here, I'm not saying that this person here is a fuck girl, but it has everybody suspicious. Uh, and Jimmy, I know you want to comment on this because this news made WSB TV2 in Atlanta. And it also, and let me tell you people in Memphis something. Yeah, Memphis news is gonna fucking get out whether you like it or not, because it got up to Chicago too about this. Deal with it. Mother of 11 says she's telling the truth despite being called a scam artist. Okay, now here's the headline. It said a mother of 11, Memphis, Tennessee, a mother of 11, this was 2 days ago, back January 10th. A mother of 11 is in need of help, despite some calling Jessica Sumlin a scam artist. The Whitehaven mother said she was laid off from her job 5 days before Christmas. Hundreds of people reached out saying they wanted to help her. But as her plight became more widely known, some on social media accused Sumlin of making up the entire story. She says she is telling the truth. Um, she said, in a quote, a lot of people got a lot of negative things to say, but where was people when I was in the dark, when me and my kids was walking back to appointments when I was in school, she said. Sumlin showed WHBQ pay stubs from her seasonal job from November and December of last year, verifying she did work. The woman was also accused of lying about working for Taco Bell. Others said she was fired from the fast food restaurant. She said she worked there, Taco Bell, for 12 years and left because of a high risk pregnancy. WHBQ reached out to the fast food chain. They told us they could not comment about whether or not she worked there. However, some of the showed WHBQ a W-2 form from Taco Bell from 2016. She is also accused of being dishonest about her high risk pregnancy. She showed us documentation from when she says her child was in Labana's Children's Hospital. Sumlin is also accused of lying about how much her electricity bill was. She told us it was a grand. Some even called it a scam, saying her lights never got turned off. Anonymous donors gave MLGW just enough money for her to get it turned back on. Now, WHBQ said that they put in a public records request to MLGW about the accusations. It can take 2 weeks, 7 to 10 business days to get a response. Shelby County Commissioner Tammy Sawyer called MLGW because she wanted to help cover part of the electricity bill. She said MLGW, also infamously known as Memphis Light Gas and Robbery, confirmed the bill was more than $1,300 and Sumlin's lights had been turned off. This is where it gets better, Jimmy, because there's a quote in there that rubbed me the wrong way. It's more of an excuse because it rubs me the wrong way because I'm going to get on to that. This story just keeps unfolding. The GoFundMe account said it was created a day ago by Jessica Sumlin. It's much different from what she told WHBQ on Monday. The story on the page says she moved in with her mother around Christmas because her house contained mold. It said in part, I had a newborn and someone broke in and stole all my children's things. She said that was information she put on the GoFundMe page about a year ago, claiming, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Claiming she didn't know how to update it. I didn't have a PayPal and Cash App. I went online and tried to do one. They was telling me that I needed a credit card to even receive the money. So a lot of people was like, it's not letting us send you the money. So I figured I have an old GoFundMe page because people must have started looking me up because I had seen it. Because I had started it at $200 in donations, she explained. People are also accusing Sumlin about her rent. According to the documentation we reviewed, it showed she has been behind for months. She owes more than $1,900.
Okay.
So let me back up on something here because I found out some things myself, and I don't know how true it is. I'm not in no position. I'm not in no position to judge her, and I ain't no position saying she lying. But if you told this to a street nigga, they'll tell you she lying. She pulling a con job. But I'm in no position to say anything. But
Me too.
this part here was what got me. She said she put on a GoFundMe page about a year ago claiming she didn't know how to update it. Bullshit.
Bitch, you created the GoFundMe
You
account.
created it. Thank you. You created the fucking GoFundMe account. If you know how to create it, you know how to fucking update it.
Yeah, it's a couple of things in there that you could say suspicious, but again, we're not even in position. I'm personally, me and you both, we're not in position to even comment on this because with 11 kids and she's a single mother of 11, she's struggling. That's a fact. She's struggling.
She's struggling
We're
like a
not
motherfucker.
we're not disputing we're
But
not
some
disputing
people
she.
are around, but some people are saying that she doesn't have love. She only got two.
Well,
Now, if you got two kids, let me tell you something. Now, if she does have two children, I can count off of the back of my hand and off front of the back of my feet how many women I know that got two. How many women that I know that got two or more children that can make it,
that can make it, but still, it's going to be a struggle
but
because
still,
we
it's
got
going to be a struggle. But not as bad as this.
not as bad as that. But let me say this though. Even let's go to the to the 11 kids. If she does have 11 kids,
Mm-hmm.
she's definitely struggling. If she has hell, if you have four in 2020 with the cost of inflation, you're struggling. Let's just keep
Mm-hmm.
it 1,010. It ain't no way around that. She's definitely struggling. Uh, is it possible that she could be scamming? Yes, it is possible, but I'm not going to make a comment on that because I don't know enough about her situation verifiably. I'm pretty sure that woman's out there selling some pussy, giving some head or something. I'm pretty sure if you got 11 kids,
You got
I'm
to be
just
doing something.
she doing something strange for some change. I'm telling you that right now. She begging. She at the corner store off of Elvis Presley begging. She doing something illegal, and that's probably why she probably doing that GoFundMe page. But I'm not gonna go as far as saying she is a scam artist
No,
because
I
that's
ain't
not
either.
it's not in my position. She's if she have two, she's gonna be struggling to a certain degree, especially if she's unemployed.
Mm-hmm.
Uh with Taco Bell, people try to get comment from Taco Bell. They have a code of conduct to where they can't comment on
Yeah,
employees.
that's true.
If it's private, if it's meant to be private, a lot of employees they cannot comment on certain things. So that's understandable.
Mm-hmm.
They try to get a comment from MLG, G&W again. That's the from my understanding, that's the customer business people, whatever the fuck they call it,
Privacy Act,
agreement,
big
privacy act.
confidentiality, Privacy Act.
So
Okay, but then,
they can't really
but
comment on it unless they're gonna pay the bill. If they pay the bill, they can give them the amount, and other than that,
mm-hmm.
they can't comment on the actual legalities of that. So it's a lot of so it's I can't really say none on that. Go
No,
ahead,
but
brother.
see, then this is another class excuse, and she said I didn't have a PayPal and Cash App. She talking about she went online and tried to do one. Okay, with Cash App, they can send you a fucking card, so it's no excuse for her to say that she needed a credit card, Cash App. I got Cash App and I got a Cash App card
A prepaid debit card is free.
or
What the
something.
hell is she's
She
what the
talking,
hell is she talking
they was
about?
telling me, and seeing this and said I went online to try to do one. They was telling me that I needed a credit card to even receive the money. So a lot of people's like, it's not letting us send you the money. Look, when you said, let me give everybody a piece of advice, especially some of you slow bunnies out there. I'm not saying she's slow. When you set up a fucking PayPal, when you set up a fucking Cash App, you can link your bank account to your PayPal. Either if you got 2 or 3 bank accounts, you can link one of them, either one of them up to your PayPal or one of them up to your Cash App. Cash App also gives you the option for their own card. That way you don't have to constantly be swiping from the bank card. As long as you got money on your Cash App card, you are fucking good. There is no damn excuse for you to say that you needed a credit card. Well, duh. Go to Ace Cash
You need
Express. Go to fucking Ace Cash
you need
Express, get a NetSpend card, prepaid. They'll set the shit up. All you got to do is and all you got to do, and if you too cheap to pay $5 for a service fee where they won't be charging you for every swipe, is really something fucking wrong with you. PayPal
yeah.
is understandable. PayPal has a credit card. Now, if you get denied credit with PayPal, that's fine. But PayPal will send you a debit card. They will do that. It's no excuse.
And PayPal, Chime,
Shit.
Simple Bank. I
I'm with
mean, there's a
hell.
lot
I'm
of
with Chime, and I got
prepaid.
to finish setting my shit up with Chime. You know, I ain't mean to put my business out there like that, but
It's
damn,
easy. It's easy.
like
It's real
damn,
easy. It's
you
simple.
know,
So
but
so
damn, but Jimmy, it's no excuse.
it's simple.
All it is just fucking simple. It's just fucking simple with PayPal. It's not that damn complicated. And maybe the reason being why people say they ain't got time to do all this shit. You want to know why? I ain't got time to do this shit. Here's the reason why your ass ain't got time. You don't know how to fucking goddamn make time, and you're too damn lazy, and you're too fucking damn stupid to actually sit down and handle your business, give it the fucking times about y'all damn situation, about y'all financial situation, setting shit up for yourself.
Yeah.
Damn. But
Yeah.
I ain't saying well, but I ain't saying, but like I said, I ain't but that part right there, she didn't have no damn excuse. It's no excuse. No excuse, none whatsoever. Now, we are both saying we ain't chiming in on her situation. We don't know. Oh, okay. I got a text. And we don't know or whatever. We're in no position to judge. But what I was more pissed off about the fact was the fucking damn excuse that she goddamn gave, man. And with the excuse, and really, did I not on the Jimmy J Smooth Network episode of Craig Smith Senior when I told you he quoted saying, if you explain some shit to somebody, that's an excuse.
Yeah. You said something to that
Yes.
magnitude.
So she basically kept explaining that one little thing right there.
And that's what
And
people are suspicious of.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, I don't know her situation, but I can see why people are suspicious of that. Uh, but you probably just got a person that's goofy as hell. That's just pretty much life situational goofy. Uh, that's this is what she sounds like. She sounds very goofy.
Or put it like,
Uh,
or as I heard somebody famous say, just pet coon goofy. You know.
yeah, and she just
Mm-hmm.
goofy as hell. So I don't know about she might be just that goofy, but
Yeah.
nevertheless,
We never
nevertheless,
know.
man, we never know. So I'm not
Yep.
gonna comment. Yeah.
All right, man. Before we close out with our 2020 regulations, we pull up my emails here. It's time for some fan questions. All right, Jimmy, you
Uh huh.
fucking email playing. Okay, really? All right, Jimmy, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, first question comes from, I had it. This comes from a guy by the name of Jeff. He wants to know, what up, guys? Says, should the Chicago Bears' number one offseason priority be finding a replacement for quarterback Mitchell Trubisky?
Yes. He Mitch he Mitch Shashisky. That's his name. God damn it for right now. So yes, charge that dude to the game. He shouldn't have been picked as high as he was. He garbage. He straight trash. He worse than Jay Cutler in my opinion. So yes.
Agreed, because agreed. I mean, they are straight trash. Well, Trubisky is straight trash. And I like what Patrick Mahomes did when he whooped their ass in Chicago Field on Sunday night. When he flashed up the numbers, his fingers with different numbers, and he said, and he was letting the Bears know, look what you passed up on for him. Look what you missed out
Yeah.
on. Hell yeah. He said, look what you missed out
Mhm.
on. So yeah, Jeff, they really do need to pass on somebody. They really need a lot of shit. I mean, because the way I see it, they need to learn from what the Titans did. I mean, like, what you brought about, like with Derrick Henry. They quietly drafted Derrick Henry. Look what Derrick Henry doing now. They need to learn some examples from how they got to stop being fucking cheap.
Yeah. I don't know who's actually running the team right now. I mean, uh, is Virginia McClaskey still alive? Shit.
Yep.
What the fuck is she? What the fuck is she doing? George Papa Bear need to come out his grave and slap the hell out of her if she's still running the goddamn team.
Yeah,
You
she
know,
still is.
yeah, she ain't did shit since the Lovey Smith years.
Mm-hmm.
So he need to
And
come up. Dead.
and Lovey was being cheap with her ass too. Didn't want to hire no decent offensive coordinator. Didn't want to get with the times. And he got his own ass out of Chicago. He was just too fucking stubborn. Then when the Bears was tired of him, like, look, you had to give us a passing offense. You know,
Yeah,
but they gonna have to do something straight up. Uh
yeah.
Henry McLish wants to know. He's more like, I think they're doing them rapid fire style. He wants to know from us, do you think the New York Knicks or the Cleveland Browns would be a good team first? The Knicks,
Say
no.
what?
Do you think the New
Say
York
that one more
Knicks,
time.
do you think the New York Knicks or Cleveland Browns would be a good team first? Hold up. The New York Knicks? Hell no. I'm not even gonna get into that. The Cleveland Browns, the same thing. They just gotta get rid of that. Jimmy Haslam needs to just go. They need new ownership. They need a new front office. They need everything. So I'm even on that. I don't think either one of them gonna be good first. The last time the last time they were good was back in 2008. Cleveland was when they went 10-6 and got into the playoffs with fucking Derek Anderson.
Yeah.
So it's pretty even Steven on both ends. What you say?
Uh, I say the Cleveland Browns will do something before the New York Tricks.
And they ain't got a coach yet.
Yeah, and that's why I say they'll do better. They'll do better before the New York Tricks, because the New York Tricks, they got a dumbass owner who's fucking up his daddy's legacy with the New York Knicks. Well, they're the New York Tricks now. I can't call them the Knicks right now because they they just disappointing right now. Yes, and Virginia McCaskey is still alive. She's 97.
Mm,
By the way, it's Ed that's dead, but nevertheless, Virginia need to go on and give her one of her great grandchildren that team, or grandchildren if they old enough, physically
yeah.
able enough. That woman's 97, the oldest
Or sell,
owner in
or
the
sell,
NFL, I'm
or
thinking.
sell, or
But
sell the team to somebody.
I don't think she's ever gonna sell that team. I don't think that the Hallis family ever want to sell that team. So I think she's probably gonna give it to one of the grandchildren to where they gonna run it. But she's
Yeah,
up there, 97. That's too old to be running anything. Shit, you need to
man.
be
What?
sitting your ass down like uh old man. I think his name Dolan, old man Dolan, who ran the New York Knicks. So
Hmm.
yeah, and that's one of the reasons why the Knicks is not gonna do nothing, because the guy that's running it now, he's fickle with people like Charles Oakley and former players that has played for the Knicks. So that's never a good thing. The main thing as an owner, you want former players to support uh former players to support your brand. Uh even if you're not the owner, you wasn't the owner when they was there. So that's the biggest problem with him. He's too arrogant for his times where his dad was pretty uh he kept up with the times, and he just got too
Hmm.
old, so he just gone went and gave it to the. But I think the siblings should have ran the team together as opposed to him. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I agree. Uh, let's see. I got a question here from Hmm. Look, actually, it's two questions. I got a
Okay.
question here from one from Lakeitha, and it's our old stomping ground related question. She
Okay.
said, "Hello, Craig and Jimmy." She said, "Craig, I remember listening to an old episode of the Jimmy J Smooth Network in which you talked about an old man and a manager of yours, or about two managers, one that you work with and one you didn't work with.
Uh
The
huh.
one that you didn't work with was a guy by the name of Eric Richardson. You had said some things, and it sounded like that you were kind of like in a hurry at the time when answering the question. But could you kindly reiterate on what you had said? And also a question for Jimmy: do you think people in leadership, whether it such as i.e., like management, should be close to their employees? Well, let's answer the second question first.
If as long as it does not conflict with the workplace, I say that could be. It's cool. That should be a problem. But if it conflicts with the workplace, no. So that question depends on the person and the relationship they're having with their coworkers.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Because it just like you said, it just all depends, and then really you're looking at a conflict of interest factor. So now if she is, but I said her name was Akita. Now if she is thinking about getting into leadership, or if her boss is just being too chummy with the employees, I can see why she asked that question.
That's true.
Because Jimmy, hey, I've seen firsthand, some managers being a little bit too close with their employees. Like this first question, I'm going to answer in a minute. Like the gentleman with this first question here in a minute. It's time, and to quote something what Bill Parcells had said when he was coach of the Giants. He said he was cool with most of the players, but he didn't with everybody that played for him. But he didn't get too close to him because he didn't want to create no, he didn't want to create no conflict. Like everybody, oh he cool with that. Well, yeah, I fuck with him. He said no. He said he never allowed he never allowed that. And that was something. And Back in the day, I couldn't stand Parcells about that, but listening to him now, he was saying some real shit. So I think like you said, it's a conflict of interest thing, and sometimes you can be close to them, to your employees. If you're a manager, you're gonna be a manager, but you can't be too fucking close to them. Emphasis on the words too. You know,
You
being
it's
personal and shit like that.
you can, but as long as it doesn't conflict with that. That's why I said what I said. You can, but if it does, it's best not to even try it. Because like I say, I'm real close to one of my bosses at the job. So and I'm cool with all my other bosses, and I don't have as close of a relationship as I do with one of my homeboys. But you know what I'm saying? But it doesn't conflict with my job either, because if he asks me to do something, I'm gonna do it. And if somebody asks me to do something before he does, I'm gonna take care of what the other individual asks of me before I take care of what he asks of me. You know what I'm saying? He'd be like, "Hey, are you doing?" Or sometimes he'll come to me and be like, "Hey, are you doing something?" So that's not conflicting with the job. I'm just doing
Right.
my job as needed to be. So in that situation, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? So again, as long as it don't conflict with the job, you're good. If it conflicts with the job,
That's a problem.
leave it alone. Leave it
Yep.
alone.
All right. Now I'm gonna answer this first question second. And what I'm gonna say, I'm be be pretty careful. What do I think of well, his first name? Well, you and him share the same first name of James Eric. Uh, I can't comment on him on a personal level because I don't know him like that. But
Right.
from what I've seen on a professional level, you know, he was a good manager, but there's a saying about the pride comes before the fall. That was his own undoing, and a whole lot of things. Stuff from what I've seen about him and hear about him. You know, he ran a pretty loose. What he had the GDL flight, and my pops worked for him, and I even had to tell my pops, I said, man, you might want to be careful associating with Eric like that. But asked me if he gave a fuck what I said, if he even did give a
Yeah.
fuck about what I said. So that's a story by itself. But he had a pretty tight crew first and foremost. But sometimes he had but some of his crews had some members of that other crew had their flaws. Um, he had two rampages. I think one still works. One still works there. The other, he's now in the office. I talked about him, guy by the name of Carlos. He works. He's in the office now. He works in the cubicle now. Um, they were loyal to him. Henceforth, emphasis on the
Yeah.
word loyal. Eric had his loyal list. Uh, and shout out to my guy Herb King. Now, I can tell this story now. He's no longer there. Um, tell you how loyal they are. Eric at one point had a third rampage spot open. Okay, so my boy Herb bidded on it, and he told me about it. And it's like I think 2000. I'll have to say in the timeline between somewhere in the 2007 to 2000. I think it was between 2008 and 2009. I'll gonna say the 2008 to 2010 range, something like that, a little bit further. You know, timetable. Correct me if I'm wrong. If Herb is listening. Um. So and when he told me about it, I said, man, that's good because I'm thinking he was gonna Herb was gonna get a rampage spot with another flight, which I think would have been best for him because he said if he didn't, he was gonna go ahead and go full time offload. Be off. Work a little work that 4x3, which was beneficial for him as well, just from a family standpoint. Because Herb and I we pretty close when we talk. So I remember pops one day we were driving home and he told me about. He said he had overheard Eric ask the two rampages, Steve and who then Carlos, what do they think about her being a rampage? So let's just say there was some fuck shit that was said in regards to that. Okay. And when Pops told me what was said, he gonna tell me don't, and then he gonna tell me don't go back and tell her. No, I'm gonna tell him. So when he was about to, so when that same, so the next night when I saw her by herself, I pulled him aside. I told him, I said, "Hey man, I got to rap with you, bro." He said, "What's up?" I said, "Man, Smitty had told me about, you were talking to Way Shack about it. What did they think about you being a rampage? And he didn't want me to tell you, but I'm gonna tell you anyway because me and you pretty cool." I said, "Cause I don't like to fuck somebody over about, I don't like to hear about motherfuckers getting done by their own peers. They had said that they don't want you there because they don't want you being a rampage because you call in all the time and you have and half the time you be having issues at the home and stuff like that and this and that." He was like, "For real?" And he was like, "Yeah." He said, "You know what Eric said?" I said, "Eric," and from what I found out, Eric agreed with him. So the only thing that I did, and in a way, I believe I did it with that little tip, that just pushed Herb to just say, "Okay, well, I'm finna go." So Herb went over to offload like he said he was gonna do. He went back to plan B. But like I said, Eric, seeing from how he was, man, he always called himself trying to be strict with a lot of people. He did show some favoritism toward the I'm pointing to my skin, to certain people of color.
Right.
Be an example. If you There was one lady, and I think, and she was dealing, I'm not gonna say her name without respect, with her being a vet, and she dealt with PTSD because she was a medic over in the Gulf War in 1991. Okay. Uh and she lived all the way out in Militant, so she had misplaced her badge. Eric told her to stay at home, and he was gonna give her one of her days, a vacation day. He did her solid. All right. A couple of days later, it was this white boy that was working on, and I think everybody kind of had trouble with him. And this I can kind of agree with Eric on here to with a little extent. Uh, the dude called the old boy called Eric and told him, man. He said, "Man, I left my He said, "Fuck." He said, "Eric, I had left my fucking badge. I want to see if I can get you to clock me in." Eric told the motherfucker no. He told that man no. And see, if Pops will come back and tell us stuff about it, he'll just tell mom about it, but don't think I'd be listening. He told the man no. Told that man, drive your ass back to Bartlett and get your badge and come on back. And he said, and plus, I'm not gonna give you one of your vacation days. I don't care how many you got. You take your ass. You told him you take your ass on back to Bartlett, get your badge wherever the hell you live at, and you come and you can bring your ass back, fuck on back here. Okay. So see, that's why I said Eric was more favorite. He showed favoritism to a color. Uh, what else did I see from him? Like I said, he had his loyalists. He was, and he was sometimes too smart for his own good. That's why I said he fits the phrase pride comes before the fall. Um,
Hmm.
he had a lot of sexual harassment stuff going on with him, from what I found out. Uh, and I think then to top it all, the biggest one was when he told this one girl to, and this, patting his lap area and all this other shit, come out talking about some, come here, sit over here to daddy, sit over here to daddy, and all this, come on, sit over here with daddy. So the chick that he was beckoning over to sit on top of daddy was a lesbian. So can you imagine? So when I was like, okay. Just thank God that wasn't a tranny he was telling, a tranny fan he was telling that to. Because man, he wouldn't man, boy, I would have never let that down. Man, you talk about all type of man and all man points revoked. That would have been like your driver's license revoked indefinitely. Your man points would have been, if his man points would have been revoked indefinitely if he told a tranny fan that shit.
Yeah,
But
man.
but then on the other hand, he had several other people come up. Some other chicks come forth and reported his ass. So he got he let go almost 30 some years of fed ass. I think he was there almost 30. He let that shit go away because of his own fucking goddamn mouth and his pride and his ego. And he also was all and I felt like you said about like with the league, with him being a manager, he did have some, seeing stuff from afar. He did have a conflict of interest. Like he would always invite his work group over to his house for breakfast.
Uh-huh.
Okay, big deal. My thing is like big deal. Now, if anybody else go back and say, "Oh, well, CJ saying big deal because he was never invited," there were only in his work group. I said her. In his work group, there was only 4 people that I fucking talked to over there that I was cool with. All the rest of them, man, they were just, I can't think of a good word for it. I'm not gonna say that all the rest of them were just coon. They were just a bunch of some of most of the rest of them, but a bunch of goofy ass niggas. And in the 2 rampages that he had, like the one I told you about how they did my boy Herb. I felt I felt that at the time that they were not they were loyalists, but they were also some sellouts. Cause when my boy ain't none of my boy. Cause when Carlos sold her when I'm gonna say their name, Steve, when Steve and Carlos sold Herb down the river like that, they should have been on that same boat with him.
Yeah.
Cause that was fucked up. So like I said, I don't have nothing personally against Eric. Everybody said Eric a good dude, but my gripe with him was just professionally about how the way he handled shit. Now I have seen him G check some damn rampages, man. Like he G checked this one white boy because he kept making all these last minute changes on the plane and caused Eric's flight to be late for almost 2 straight weeks. And he told him, man, he said, look here, man, I'm gonna be fucking straight up with you. He said, I'm about to fire your motherfucking ass, dog. He said, now I'm finna lose this damn load team because they getting sick and tired of you making changes at the last minute when they didn't had this plane fully loaded and get ready to close the door. Cause man, I was in that way shack that day. He was hot. And he said, you fucking make another goddamn change on my plane again when they get ready to close the door. Guess what? You gonna get fast and I'm gonna escort your ass on out of here. He was hot, man. Hey,
Said
he was hot.
he gonna escort his ass up out of there.
He was gonna personally escort his ass up on out of there, man. He was hot though, because see, let me tell y'all, if y'all work fed, let me tell y'all something. Y'all really can fuck fuck your own flight up.
Mhm.
Now I can see if you making a last minute swap, you call it in and say, hey, swap 2 right and 2 left. Swap 2 left with 2 right. That's it. But in this case, this man he had them. It was almost about like damn almost half of a plane. A fucking MD-11. You making some last minute changes like that and that shit. So yeah, if I was Eric in that boat, I've been pissed off of my rampaging too. And if I was
Uh-huh.
a low team man, and if I was a low team man, if I was a low team manager that time, I've been very pissed off.
I agree.
So I mean, like I said, so if anybody listens to this, my opinion about Eric was just on a professional standpoint, not personal. Because like I said, I ain't get to know the dude personally. But just seeing from afar the way he kind of carried himself professionally, man, it's just like, it was it was hit or miss sometimes. The best,
Yeah,
my best way of describing it. So,
I
but
feel you.
and last but not least, man, I did say they're gonna go over some couple of our, Jimmy's and I's rules for our podcast and stuff like this and that. Again, on Let's Draw on Something and on the Jimmy J Smooth Network, we only talk about the following. We talk about social issues, like what goes on in our community, in our neighborhood, what's going on, like really what's going on around the fucking world. We talk about sports. We talk about life. On Jimmy's podcast, and vice versa. We tell our life stories, in which probably hopefully soon or whenever Jimmy's ready to do it, I'm gonna be telling everybody my story about my military days. And
Right.
as someone said it best, and Jimmy said it best, and another person said it best. Um, no, that is Jimmy, because well, anyway, the military is not designed for black people, and it's not. And I'm going to explain that very thoroughly. It is not, and I'm just going to leave it like that. And I already said we talk about sports on that shit, right?
Right.
Okay. We have fun with a lot of things. Like my segment, Jimmy Takes the Wheel, where Jimmy takes the wheel on certain motherfuckers, chew their ass out, and leave it vice versa. We answer fan questions. Yeah, we gonna answer fan questions about whether our old jobs, whether it can just be FedEx, UPS, or wherever, or even some of our current states and status like this and that. But the only time that we will, if somebody attacks either us personally on our live streams, I'll put it like this: we do not attack people personally on our live streams unless we are attacked.
Yeah.
My co-host has attacked a whole bunch of motherfuckers, and he has personally put them in their place. I've seen and heard it. Now I'm gonna bring that dead issue. He's done it all. You know, he even had a month long chewing out session back in 2017 on somebody, and then got them removed from YouTube.
Yep.
2017, not the one from 2019. 2017, back in 2017.
Yep.
2019, different story. We gonna leave that in the ground.
Right.
We're gonna leave that buried. I even got chewed out on Facebook by someone 2 years ago, just gonna say on Christmas 2017 for something that they took the wrong way. And everybody had to jump in their ass with both of their feet about that, which was fucked up. But they later apologized. So the only way that we're gonna attack someone personally is you decide to attack us. And if you say shit about our family, we do have the right to report your ass to YouTube and get you blocked and get you
Yep.
banned. So don't attack our family. If we talk about you in a respectful way, and mainly here's another thing. If you fit before you jump the gun and feel that either one of us is talking about you personally, listen. Listen first, and then decide to come back with a comeback.
Exactly.
You know, i.e., case in point, when Charles Barkley had talked about LeBron 2 years
Yeah.
ago by saying, "What does he want? All the good players he don't want to compete." LeBron took that personal. But Charles, and you even said to Jimmy that you had to roll with, and you even said to Jimmy that you had to roll with Charles Barkley on that by taking a high road by saying, hey, he didn't have no problems with what LeBron said. He didn't say nothing personal about that, man. He said the only thing he just said was talking from a basketball standpoint. But but Shaq defended LeBron by saying he took it personal by saying that he don't want to compete. But I had to roll with Charles Barkley on that.
Agreed. I definitely
Under,
roll with Charles Barkley in that respect because he was
yeah,
definitely wrong
and
in
Kenny
that
Smith did too.
department.
And Kenny Smith did too because the perspective thing, and a lot of motherfuckers, man, in this world today, I question y'all's perspective. It's like just say like if my girl buy it, I'm gonna borrow Kenny's car analogy. Just say like if my girl had a shitload of money and she bought a 2020 Chevy Silverado, not GMC Silverado, a 2020 Chevy Camaro, and a 2020 Chevy Cruze, all paid for cash money. But I'm just saying, listen. But she'll come back and plain say, "Well, Craig, I need my everyday car." You got the you got three 2020s out there. So what you mean you need an everyday car? We got a lot of people that's got some fucked up ass perspectives out there. You know? So listen before you all can jump to a conclusion about what we're saying. Don't just come out and say, man, well, Craig said this bad about me. I'm going to attack him personally. And then when you listen to it after the fact, oh, man, well, my bad about this, about that, yada, yada, yada. Don't do that. Listen. And another thing that we don't talk about on here, and we're not going to, we do not talk politics on neither one of our live streams. And we do not talk about religion. And we're
Totally agree
not
with
going
that.
to.
Agreed.
So if you come with us talking about with Trump talk, don't you do it. Don't you do it. Fair warning, don't you do it. But I want to talk about Trump and it, but I understand that, but just don't do it. So we're not going to talk about politics or religion. Nor now, most of the time, do we talk about money? Have we ever talked about money on here on either one of our shows?
I do that. I do. I personally
Oh,
do. You know, because it's definitely a needed. That's definitely a needed subject because people do need
mm-hmm.
to know how to manage their situations better than they do. Uh, but actually, my only issue when it comes to talking about money is when people start pocket watching. That becomes a problem
Man,
right there. I don't
yeah,
like
yeah,
the pocket watching.
yeah, and we will talk about money on here. And like Jimmy brought up another subject. Don't be paying attention to nobody. The only pockets y'all need to pay attention to is y'all's.
Exactly.
Don't pay attention to mine. Don't pay attention to Jimmy's. Don't pay attention to anybody else's. Pay attention to your own.
Yep.
Period. Point blank. What Corey sent?
What did he see?
Tom Brady. This man. He ain't shit. He he the all decade team for shit. Oh, by the way, speaking of all decade, shout out to Bill Cowher. He was elected to the Hall of Fame yesterday. First
Hmm.
ballot. So
Al Bundy. Tom Bundy. Dun, 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 dun. Mm, mm. Let me see the
it,
Hall of Fame ballot for this year. He was also on the 100 best players as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Uh,
but I didn't mean to break away from that dude, but yeah, them are some of our new them our rules and regulations that we would like people to follow, and keep the keep our podcasts going and whatnot. Keep our podcasts clean and fresh and and whatnot, free from the fuckery. Because if you attack, hey,
agreed.
like we said, if you attack us, we attack back, and you don't want that from us.
Yes, sir.
You don't want that from us at all.
Okay. Yeah, he's formally enshrined. So he'll definitely be in the Hall of Fame. And the remainder of the 15-minute member class will be revealed on Wednesday. Okay, so he's the only guy that's a for sure shoe in of the Hall of Fame, which is that well deserved. No, I don't have no opposition for that. No opposition to that at all. So he's definitely deserving of that. He was given a chance to build the franchise and was rewarded them with their first Super Bowl in 30 plus years. So he deserved it. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
he definitely deserved it. So we'll see who the rest they gonna give. Who they gonna give. So that'll be very interesting, to say the
No, no doubt,
least.
no doubt. But other than that, man,
Yeah.
you got anything else you like to add, man? For you
Oh,
got any
nothing else,
other
man.
rules and regulations, or
Uh, nothing else. I'm glad the show is glad the show is great. Glad we had a great show today.
oh yeah,
So
most definitely,
it is what it
what it
is.
is. All right, and on top of that note, so on behalf of Jimmy J. Smooth, this is Craig L. Smith II signing off. Stay tuned for episode 40 whenever, because we will be talking about the national championship game that is tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Take care. Enjoy the rest of y'all weekend. God bless. Don't drink and drive. Don't go out here get to acting stupid or whatnot. And also, to all my fellas out there, if you got a good woman, take care of them and make sure and love them. Ladies, you too. If your man love you, your man showing you love, show it back to him. Don't play around. Don't be playing me trying to play all hard to get. We ain't got time for that.
Yes, sir.
So on behalf of Let's Draw Something, the pleasure has been all yours.